Guys, welcome back to another video. Today, we are gonna be continuing What If I Was Transported to Pokemon, Part 9. Now, before we get into this, I want to note that this part is basically gonna have everything about the Orange Islands. Like, I basically put all of the Orange Islands events into this video, so this might take a while. The next part is gonna be doing the same thing except for the league. Yeah, against the Elite Four. Anyways, with that out of the way, I want you to like and subscribe and comment down below and turn on notifications so you never miss a video. Hope you enjoy. Now, where we left off, the league has ended. The tournament has ended, and the rest of the group ask, where am I gonna train to prepare for the Elite Four? And so I just be blunt with it. Well, of course, guys, I'm thinking of going to the Orange Islands. They all ask what the Orange Islands is, and Professor Oak chiming in explains the Orange Islands. Say, Red, since you're going to the Orange Islands, would you mind doing me a favor? Professor Oak would ask. I would say, yeah, sure, what do you need? And Professor Oak would describe that the GS ball and everything, and that we have to bring it to him. Anyways, we accept this, and with that out of the way, me and Ash swap our team around because Ash does want to participate in the Orange League too. Sorry. Anyways, with the Spearow and Pidgey and stuff like that, the event changes. Except what changes about this is that Ash's Pidgeotto doesn't evolve here. Instead, my Fearow goes on to ask to leave because he wants to make sure the Spearow and Fearow don't attack random flocks. And so I just accept this and don't want to get into any of cringy stuff. So that's just what happens. Anyways, we arrive on Orange Islands and we meet Professor Ivy and get the GS ball. After that, Brock, being a simp, decides to stay behind. And so we head off and we still meet Tracy. Ash still catches his Lapras. And Lapras not being big enough, I had to send out my Charizard to fly most of us to the next islands. And yeah. Anyways, we move on to the first gym. Ash still gets his badge the same way, with him using Squirtle and Lapras. And then he gets his first badge. And then I go on to use Dragonair this time, but since he has better accuracy, I don't need to do the second challenge. At least that's what I think happens. Yeah, I still get the badge. And so, we move on. And Togepi's egg still hasn't hatched, so I'm getting a bit concerned about it. But I don't say anything. And the Kabuto cave thing still happens, but one Kabuto stays back, as it wants to go with me. And so I catch it, and then move on to the next gym. I decide to go first, and I use my Raichu, a Scyther, and Rhyhorn to build the sled, which was a success, and I win the badge. And then Ash still wins the badge the same way, only that Charizard is slightly more obedient. And then we move on Ash still catches Snorlax, and Tracy still catches his Scyther. It's even here where I actually catch an extra Scyther too, for reasons. Anyways, we were about to leave the island, but all of a sudden a portal opens up with 3 Team Rainbow Rocket Grunts. And so we have to get into a battle with them, as they send out what was it? Golem, Magmar, and an Alolan Raticate. The team are kind of confused about the Raticate, but have no time to think about this. And then AJ sends out Graveler. I send out Squirtle, and Ash sends Pikachu. As this fight is pretty epic and a little bit hard to describe, but I'll try. So Squirtle uses Water Pulse on Golem. Pikachu uses Iron Tail on Golem while dodging Raticate. And Golem tries to use Rollout, but Pikachu dodges. Golem hits Magmar. And then Squirtle hits a Skull Bash on Raticate. Squirtle uses Water Gun on both Golem and Magmar. And Graveler uses Mega Punch on Raticate. And Squirtle uses Water Gun on Golem again. As then Graveler uses Rock Throw on Magmar. And Pikachu uses a Thunderbolt on Raticate, which knocks the Pokemon out. All of a sudden, another portal opens, but it's different. It's like a vacuum this time. And the rest of the team is pulled right through them. The rest of the Rocket Grunts follow after, and soon we have to go through too. We are now in Ultra Space, as we are very confused but worried at the same time about our friends. As then we go on to find some strange Pokemon, as we have to fight them off because they're attacking us for some reason. It's even here that my Squirtle evolves into War Turtle when learning Hydro Pump. And then we move on, but something wasn't right. We see a mysterious Pokemon that looks like a Lugia, but it doesn't have the right colors. It's not even a shiny. And then we send out most of our Pokemon being defeated. I'm saving Charizard for last because I don't want to over-rely on him, with Ash having Pidgeotto and AJ having his Fearow last. As they try to put up a good fight, but they are sent back by Hydro Pump and Shadow Ball for some reason. Even though Ash's Pidgeotto evolves into Pidgeot, it's still not enough to take down Lugia. And then Rhyhorn does its best, trying to put up a good fight, but Lugia is just too strong. And it comes down to an Ice Beam and Hydro Pump collision. And then Rhyhorn is losing, but determined to win, it glows and grows bigger and evolves into Rhydon as it strikes Lugia with the Ice Beam. It then puts up the fight of its life, even learning Smackdown mid-battle, as Lugia is getting pretty damaged, and I am surprised by this. But I don't know. But I don't realize that Team Rainbow Rocket had to nerf Lugia a bunch to control it. And then Lugia had to go through a portal. Rhydon tries to follow after it, but it is too slow and cannot fly. And then Rhydon stands there in victory. And then we go on to find our friends, which we do. We wait for a portal to open up, which luckily doesn't take that long to open up. We jump through the portal and back to our world. And finally, after feeling like an eternity, Togepi's egg hatches. And the first person it sees is Ash. And then we move on to the next gym, and Ash still wins his match the same way. But for me, it's different. As in the next day, it is my battle next. The gym leader sends out Venomoth, and I send out Kabuto. Now, I don't really remember most of the Pokemon this gym leader had. I'm just using the Pokemon from a YouTube video I saw. So if you want me to re-upload this, I'll try to do the best I can. Sorry. Anyways, Kabuto tries to strike with Aqua Jet, but it misses. It then uses Protect to protect it from Psybeam, and then strikes with Aqua Jet. It is then hit with the Bug Bite, and then an Air Slash. Kabuto tries to go for another one, but it misses. And then Kabuto is hit by Psybeam. As Kabuto falls, it uses Protect from a Bug Bite. As then it uses Absorb to try to heal itself. And then uses another Aqua Jet. As then Kabuto and Venomoth are eyeing each other down. As Kabuto goes for a final Aqua Jet to knock it out. And then next up is Executor versus Scyther. Scyther is able to dodge all the moves due to its speed. And then uses a Night Slash. And then it is hit with a Tackle, I think. Or could be Double Edge or Takedown. Let me know what... I'm sorry. Anyways, Scyther is hit with an Energy Ball. And then Scyther gets his composure back. And then it dodges a Solar Beam. But it is caught in a confusion. But it strikes back with X-Scissor. Then follows it up with a Night Slash, which knocks out Executor. As then next up is Rhydon versus Ivysaur. Ivysaur uses Takedown, but it is hit with the Horn Drill, and then retaliates with the Razor Leaf, and then a Solar Beam. As then goes for another Takedown which lands, but it is hit with a Hammer Arm, I think. And then it's hit with Rock Blast. I think a Rock Blast. I don't know. Anyways, it dodges out of the way and then uses Solar Beam from behind. And then fires off a Sludge Bomb right into the face of Rhydon. Rhydon is now blind and cannot see. It tries to attack, but from up above, Ivysaur uses a Solar Beam. And then, when it lands, it uses another Takedown knockout Rhydon. As then I earn my next gym badge. As then we move on, and then to the last gym. And Ash decides to sit this one out so that he can see me battle first. As then Alakazam and Marowak come out. As I send out Scyther and Kabuto. They are both hit with the Psychic, and Kabuto is hit with the Skull Bash from Marowak. Or it could be a Headbutt, or something like that. Scyther attacks with Night Slash on Alakazam, but he is hit with Psychic, and Kabuto uses Absorb. And then he hits Alakazam with an Aqua Jet. Marowak tries to follow, but it is hit with the Slash. Kabuto is hit with the Psybeam, as then Scyther goes on to Alakazam to use an X-Scissor, and then Kabuto uses Aqua Jet on Marowak. Scyther is thrown back with Shadow Ball, and Kabuto is hit with another headbutt. Both Scyther and Kabuto are hit with Psybeam. As determined to win, Kabuto glows and evolves into Kabutops. As then both of the Pokemon with now blades on their hands go in for another attack, with Kabutops learning Slash and Scyther using a super effective X-Scissor on Alakazam. As then Kabutops uses Aqua Jet on Alakazam. As then both of them use Slash on the Pokemon, knocking them out. I then earned my last gym badge, and Ash still wins his badge the same way. Only a lot easier because of Charizard. We move on, and on the way, I decide to catch myself a Magikarp, since I still do like Gyarados. Anyways, we move on to the Battle of Drake, and Ash still wins the same way, but I'm on to the battle. As then Ditto comes out for Drake, I send out Ivysaur. As Ditto uses Transform to transform into Ivysaur. As they both clash with Takedown, Ivysaur dodges Sludge Bomb and then lands a Takedown. It then fires off a Sludge Bomb at the Faker. As they both clash with Razor Leaves. As then my Ivysaur uses Solar Beam to knock a little bit off guard. And then the other Ditto uses Takedown, but Ivysaur jumps up and uses Sludge Bomb with the same. And then they both strike each other. And then they are both a little bit weakened, but Ivysaur dodges a Solar Beam as it strikes with Sludge Bomb. And then it strikes with Takedown to knock out Ditto. Drake returns Ditto and sends out his next Pokemon. I decide to save my Ivysaur for later, as I send out Dragonair to fight Electabuzz. As he dodges a Thunderbolt, but is hit with the Thunder. As he falls, he is hit with the Thunder Punch, but he is able to slither out of the way and use a Dragon Breath. He then uses Slam on Electabuzz, and then hits with another Dragon Breath. Electabuzz is getting angry and decides to fire off a lot of Thunderbolts, but is eventually able to hit Dragonair. As then Dragonair tries to go for another Slam, but is hit with Thunder Punch. As then he uses a Dragon Breath, and Electabuzz using Thunder, but Dragonair was able to win the clash. Electabuzz is sent back and decides to charge in for another Thunder Punch, but it is met with an Ember. And then a Dragon Breath. And I just want to say, if Dragonair can't learn Ember, then I'm sorry for that. But sometimes the Pokemon anime gives moves to Pokemon who can't learn them. So, sorry about that. Anyways, Electabuzz gets knocked out. I return my Dragonair. His Gengar is up next. I decide to send out my Scyther, since almost all of my team knows normal type moves and not a lot of super effective moves. As Gengar goes for Shadow Ball, but Scyther dodges it. But he is hit with the Nightshade. Scyther gets back up and then uses Night Slash, but is slammed around with Psychic. And then Scyther gets up again and prepares an X-Scissor, which lands. It then flies back and uses another Night Slash, but it is hit with Nightshade, and then an Icy Wind, which is not good for me. And so Scyther snaps out of it, and then it sees the Shadow Ball coming in. It slashes the Shadow Ball in half, and then uses Night Slash on Gengar. It then prepares for another move. Using Night Slash, Gengar prepares for Icy Wind, and then both attacks collide, but both the Pokemon are knocked out. And then next up is Onix versus Kabutops. As then, come on. Kabutops tries to attack, but is hit with the double edge from Onix. Kabutops gets up and uses an Aqua Jet, but Onix dodges. And then Kabutops goes for another Aqua Jet, which lands. But it is hit with double edge. And then Kabutops is sent flying, but is hit with a Rock Slide. Kabutops doesn't want to give up and stands back up, brushing the pain off. And then jumps up and Onix goes for Dig with Kabutops using Aqua Jet in the hole. As then a few minutes have passed and both of the Pokemon come rushing up with Kabutops using Aqua Jet and then using Mega Drain. But is hit with Screech and then another Rock Slide. Kabutops is tired and hurt, but it's not going to give up that easily. And then he uses Aqua Jet again, but it is stuck in a bind. Kabutops uses Slash on Onix's face, and then gets out of there. As it hits with Aqua Jet, knocking Onix out. Next up is Venusaur, and Kabutops still wants to battle, being a little bit too prideful. As it lands an Aqua Jet and then a Slash, but it is hit with Leaf Storm. Kabutops goes in for another attack using Aqua Jet, but it is hit with the Solar Beam. That Solar Beam should have knocked him out, but it didn't for some reason. Kabutops goes for another Aqua Jet, and then from above, it uses another Slash and uses Protect against Leaf Storm. Venusaur charges up a Solar Beam. Kabutops uses another Protect. At this point, Kabutops is tired because of having to fight two Pokemon, and one of them is just too strong and has too many attacks are too effective. He tries to attack again, but is hit with the takedown as he knocks out. And then I decide to send out my Ivysaur because some of the Pokemon don't have enough of a type matchup, and I want to save Charizard for later. Both of the Pokemon strike with takedown, and then Ivysaur goes for Sludge Bomb, which connects, and then lands Razor Leaf, as then is hit with Leaf Storm, just like Kabutops, but strikes back with Sludge Bomb. But Ivysaur is hit with a takedown. Ivysaur gets back up and tries to use takedown of its own, but it misses and is landed another takedown. As then Ivysaur, not wanting to give up, uses Solar Beam with the Venusaur doing the same thing. But it is hit, or so you would think. Venusaur was secretly holding back, storing up more and more energy, but is able to barely dodge out of the way of the Solar Beam. And now with Overgrow active, it is able to unleash all of its power in its last Solar Beam, knocking Venusaur out, but it faints afterwards. And then up next is Drake's Dragonite. I send out my Charizard, and this should be interesting. Dragonite goes for Dragon Rage, but Charizard just flicks it away with Dragon Claw as it strikes Dragonite with it, and then follows it up with the Thunder Punch. And then Charizard flies up and dodges a Water Gun, and then lands a Steel Wing. Charizard goes for another attack, but before he could, ice beam comes in from Dragonite, but it is melted away with Flamethrower. Dragonite tries to go for a Body Slam, but Charizard lifts it up into the air and then slams it to the ground. Dragonite goes for Thunderbolt, which connects, and then he goes for Water Gun, which catches Charizard off guard. As then Dragonite goes behind him and uses Slam. Charizard's not giving up that easily and uses Flamethrower to send Dragonite backwards. Dragonite is now up in the air and uses another Thunder, which is dodged. And from behind, Charizard uses Thunder Punch. As now Dragonite is on the ground. They both fire off their beams, with Dragonite using Hyper Beam and Charizard using Flamethrower. But for some reason, Blaze isn't activating. Trying so hard, but it's not working. As then the Hyper Beam fights through. Charizard is now getting fatigued, but Blaze is still not activating. Dragonite hits with Dragon Rage and goes for another slam, but Charizard knocks him away with Thunder Punch. As then Charizard flies up, dodging another Body Slam, and then Charizard uses Flamethrower. Now Charizard charges up a Dragon Claw with Dragonite using Thunder to knock it back, but Charizard fights through the pain and charges through with its final Dragon Claw, knocking Dragonite out. Drake then says, "Wow, Ash wasn't kidding. You really are something. You're pretty strong. You know that?" Then I would think to myself, must have been Ash that told him. As I win my trophy, then I take a picture of all my Pokemon that battled. I do want to note that Wartortle did appear in the battle, but it didn't do well. And so we're going to make that up in the Elite Four. We all head back, and that's about it. Professor Oak still gets the GS ball, by the way, and Brock is still going depresso. Anyways, that's about it with the video. So the next video will be focusing on the finale of Season 1 of Pokemon. As I hope you like this video, and make sure to leave a comment on what your thoughts about this was. And anyways, I might work on the Invincible Shinobi or maybe the next part of Pokemon. Anyways, I gotta go now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.